Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Cab Crew Wednesday on this 18th of March in 2026. It's a 2 minute or two from 8 o'clock, but I thought I'd start because there's a lot of people in here. And I just wanted to say hello to everyone so far, and hope everybody's doing well. Weather's crazy again, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So let's just say hello to everybody in the chat so far. Uh, Russ from Russ Rockin' and Railroad. He was the first one in. Welcome, Russ. Glad you're here. Grandpa Rails, JD, welcome. How you doing? And we got Mike at Pedham Junction. Welcome, Mike. How's things over there across the pond? How you doing? Welcome in. And we got Ronald Radu. How you doing, Ronald? Welcome. And Jim Tedesco's here. Welcome, Jim. How you doing? Glad you can make it in. And we got Colonel Cottonbelt, Jason. How you doing, Jason? Welcome in here. Glad to see you made it. And Chuck Schreiber's here. Welcome, Chuck. Glad to see you made it in too. And then Dundas Junction Model Railroad, James is here. Welcome, James. How you doing tonight? Glad to see you in here. And Dwight Curley popped in. Hey, Dwight, how you doing? Welcome in. Everybody saying hello to everybody. That's good. So it's good to see everybody in here tonight. Glad everybody made it. Hope your week. Oh, I just lost chat. Oh, there it goes. I clicked on something in StreamYard and it hid chat for a second. So what I've been working on lately, first thing was I spoke about this before, the rocker switches, which controls the track power, the single pole, single throw rocker switches were turning off the lights on a track. I'm going to make myself bigger here. They were turning off the track power. They were turning off the lights on the track. But then I still had track power. Not much, but a little voltage on there. And I couldn't figure out why it was happening. So instead of the single pole, single throw rocker switches, I got the double pole, single throw rocker switches. So that means it's on and off. Single throw is on and off. That's all you get, on and off. And double pole means it has 4 posts on it, so that you can have 2 sets of wires going in and out. So the first one I put in, I couldn't get it to work right, and this and that. And I found the whole problem was that the wires coming from the rocker switch are different color wires than are coming from the feeder wires and the bus line wires coming together. So I got 4 pairs of wires there, and I didn't have them configured properly. Then I figured out the configuration on the first one, and I said, great, that's what I'm going to do. And I said the second one, and then it was a different kind of issue. So I then decided I'm going to stop that process, and I'm going to draw out a wiring diagram. And then things started working perfectly. So now I have a wiring diagram. It's a little piece of paper. You're not going to be able to make heads or tails out of it because I have things crossing over. But there's the rocker switch, and then there's 4 wires coming out of that. That's your um, feeder wires from the track, and then over here is the bus line 2 wires, and you have to split them, and then that's what works. So I bought a bag of 5 double pole, single throw rocker switches just to make sure that this was going to work. And um, I then, so I have all 5 of them in, and now they're working. So I got 36 rocker switches around the layout that turn off um, sidings, um, yard tracks, and stuff like that in my lower yard, in the upper yard, um, sidings um, that have a bumper at the end. I have some sidings that go in and out. I don't turn the track off on those. They just stay on. I don't leave engines in there. I just leave a couple cars in there when I'm moving freight from one place to another. So, and so I got that project going. So I'm going to just buy some more rocker switches, a few at a time, just to do them and get them all, so that then I'll know they'll all be taken care of, not have to worry about any residual voltage on the track when I actually have it turned in the off position. So I can put my Blue Man on those tracks, and it lights up dimly, but it lights up. Now, the original track tester that I had, I couldn't find it. That's why I bought the Blue Man testers. You got 4 in a pack from them when I bought them from the guy. And then as soon as I got them in, I found the other one. So now I have 5 track testers. And I created a little holder for them and secured them on the fascia somewhere. So I have them readily available for me so I can grab them whenever I need to. So, and with the old one, the original one, you can't buy that anymore. They don't make them anymore. That one didn't light up, but the Blue Men light up. So different voltage, I guess, for it to power the LED. I don't know. So, but that's what was going on with that. So I just said, good, now I know what's going on. And because this all started when I put the service tracks up on the roundhouse that I was putting in, and the light wouldn't go out when I turned off the power. And that's when I discovered that the track had voltage. And then I tested all the rest of them, and I said, oh, the same thing. But the other ones that I tested, the lights go out, but this one wouldn't for some reason. So I replaced the light, still lit up, and then that's when I switched over to the double pole, single throw rocker switches. Now the power's totally off, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. So eventually I'll get the rest of the rocker switches and switch them all out, and that'll finish that little project. So um, that's what was going on with that. And like I said, I have to order a bunch of bags of them, so I have them. I need to I need to run like 2 more wires, because originally with the single pole, single throw, you only need 2 wires from the toggle switch. So I had to run an extra pair of wires there. and all the wire that I took out from all the other things that I wasn't using anymore, um, I put that in a box and I'm reusing it. And I just have to cut the lengths that I need to put them up there. So using the same color scheme for the new wires. So it makes it easier to do. But that was the whole problem. I had a red and white wire and a green and white wire and a black and white wire. And the feeder wires were green and white. The wire from the rocker switch was black and white. And I added a red and white for the second set of wires on the rocker switch. So I had a red and white wire, a green and white wire, and a black and white wire. And then also from the bus line to the track feeders was a black and white wire. So you had 4 sets of wires there, getting the right combination. And what I should have done was just change the colors of those wires to match them all up. So I'd have 2 reds and this and that. A midsummer railway scale. Welcome. How you doing? Glad to see you in here. It's been a while since we've seen you, but that's good that you're here. Hope everything's well with you. So that's what was going on with that little project. It didn't affect anything, but if you dropped a piece of metal on the track, it would have shorted out the track and you didn't know what was going on. So that's why I'm trying to get those tracks turned off, and then there's no power on them, and then we can go from there. So I got the rocker switches off of Amazon, and I'll order a couple more later on. Right now, hey Chris, welcome. How you doing? Glad to see you in here. So, um, I put a video up showing the progress of that, those turnouts that I was changing, and then I found the bad turnout. And hey, Jason, I said hello to you before, didn't you? I don't know if you heard me or not. And I ordered a turnout from Train World on Saturday, and they don't ship out on the weekends. Monday, I get an email from them early in the morning, said they ship it out. I got a tracking number, and I shipped it by UPS instead of the post office. And so then Monday night, there was tracking on the package. And then I got an email from UPS saying it was going to be delivered on Tuesday. And I said, great, Tuesday. That was yesterday. Well, we had high winds in New Jersey on Monday going into Tuesday. High winds were 25 mile an hour, 30 mile an hour winds with gusts up to 50, I guess. Well, the news was called, oh, we're going to have tornadoes, blah, blah, blah. Everybody got scared, blah, 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 blah. You know the bullshit. And I said, we don't have tornadoes in New Jersey. We only ever had 1 tornado in New Jersey. And I witnessed it. So that's the only one we've ever had. and we don't get them here, not like out in the Midwest. So, and so I started checking on my phone, and I saw it was tracking and tracking, and it was, it went, it comes out of Brooklyn, New York. That's where Train World is. They're in Brooklyn. And then they go to Mezpath, New York, which is another town in the New York City area. And hey, Todd Armstrong, welcome. How you doing? So it went out to Mezpath, New York, and then it departed from Mezpath, and it arrived in Monroe Township, New Jersey, at 9:30 at night on Monday night. And I said, this is great. It's in New Jersey already on Monday night. At 3 o'clock in the morning, when I woke up, I looked at my phone, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, there was another message from UPS saying severe weather alert, delayed. Now, when I woke up on Tuesday morning, looked outside. Hey, DB Tech, welcome. How you doing, Dave? When I looked out the window on Tuesday morning, it was bright, sunny, clear blue skies. No severe weather anywhere. So I go, what the heck's going on? So I called up UPS. I was on the phone with them for an hour, and they made up all kinds of excuses. And then I finally got a hold of the person, and they said it's in Cranberry, New Jersey. And the reason why it hasn't moved yet is they didn't empty the truck yet. I don't know who the 9 slackers are. There's always slackers, Jason. They don't know that you just move the mouse over to that little thumbs up and click on it, and then you go. So, but anyway, so then the UPS said, oh, it'll be here tomorrow. Well, I said, why is it going South New Jersey? I'm in the northwest corridor of New Jersey. I'm not south. Why does it go south? Brooklyn, New York is a straight shot across for me. It's straight across. If I were to shoot an arrow from my house and it went far enough, I could hit somebody in Brooklyn, New York with a straight shot. That's how it is. So why did they drive it to South Jersey and then bring it back up? So Tuesday night, she said after 9 o'clock at night you'll see some action on the package. I said okay. So around 9:30 at night, I looked at it again, and it arrived in Bayonne, New Jersey. Now Bayonne it went back almost to New York again, because Bayonne is right on the borderline of New Jersey and New York. So instead of going northwest and going to my hub, I'm saying it's not going to be here tomorrow. Well, last night they moved it around a lot, and it ended up being they needed to move it around, and then they got it here. They got it here today. So I got the new turnout today. So I took it out of the package and put it on, and I had to get all the track back together, hook up the wires, got the frog powered. So I have 3 new turnouts in that section of track now. And the frogs are all, the polarity on the frogs are all correct. And the track works. I tried to run the train through there before the show. And I had my track testing car on that section of track, and it rolled through it smoothly. Going backwards into the tunnel is a curve, and that track tester car doesn't do well on that radius. Hey, Mike, welcome. How you doing? Glad to see you in here. So it runs back and forth through all 3 turnouts. I was checking the polarity and this and that, and change the turnouts and make sure the car ran through it and everything, and it all worked. I just have to check the crossover from that layout to the other layout track, and that all got moved around when I was putting the new track in and stuff. So I got to test it out again. So got them all in, and I had the train with the track cleaning car on it. And I ran it around the track and then into the tunnel. Well, before it got to the tunnel, it hung up for a second, and I think it jumped the wheels off of the car, because right before the tunnel, there's a 90-degree crossing section of track, like this kind of crossing. And right before that, there's 2 3-inch pieces of straight track. And those 2 3-inches pieces of straight track, one of the rails is a little bit lower than the other rail. And when the track cleaning car comes with a pad, it hits that and it holds up the car. So, so I didn't see it jump the track. Hey, Barbara, welcome. How you doing? Seeing double, going to rest my eyes. Okay, not seeing double. Good. Glad you're in here. So, it hit that, and then I don't know. And everybody say hello to Barbara. She still has her eye problem, and it's just going to take a long time to heal and everything. So, so anyway, I think that's what knocked it off the rail. And as it was going through the tunnel, and it came out, and it derailed on the first turnout. So I think it was already off the track, and it didn't it didn't derail on the thing. The wheel was off the track already. That made it derail. So tomorrow I'm gonna fix that other section of track and then put the track cleaning car back on. Because when I run the train without the track cleaning car, it runs around the whole layout no problem. So except for some dirty spots, because the track cleaning car hasn't been able to go all the way around. So so that's tomorrow's project, to fix that section of track. I gotta, I guess, loosen up the ballast and then lift the one track. Maybe I'll take the joiner out of there and put a new joiner in there or something. Something's keeping that one rail from dropping just a little bit. It just takes a little bit for it to catch. It's not a smooth transition. It has to be smooth all the way around. And I fixed another section. So, hey, Derek, welcome. How you doing? So that's what's going on with that new section of the track. Like I said, I tested the frog polarity. That all works. I had to grind down the new spring wires for the tortoise machines that are there, and I snipped them off with a pair of snips, and then I ground them down with my Dremel tool. I have a grinder on there, and I ground it down, and then the engines run over them. The engines are the problems with those spring wires sticking up a little too high. The rolling stock won't hit it, but the engines are lower to the track in a lot of cases. So you have to fight, get it down below the rail. So when I put it all back together, there's insulator joiners at the turnouts and everything, and I missed one on the one rail, and I had to pull up the track. Hey Bob, welcome. How you doing? So I then had to pull it up. Then I had to replace the spring wires, so I already had cut them and everything, and I'm scrounging up for spring wire. I had some one piece left and another one that was long enough that fit. So, because that section there's a 3/4 inch plywood as the base on that layout, 3/4 inch, and then there's a 4-inch foam on top of that. Then the road bed, so that's about 5 inches, and then the tortoise machine hangs down, so that's like 7-8 inches of total length I need of a spring wire. And the spring wires come, oh yes they are, they're fun, they're lots of fun, but these are the things. And a lot of these things I would have never found out that I had these problems if I didn't put a track cleaning car on. Now, I've used other track cleaning cars, but they're not as low to the track as the ones that I'm using. And these are loaded, go up and down, but this had a blackout, and that had to be StreamYard doing that, because I'm on the internet on the other side and I don't have no problems. So anyway, so I then found that section of track had the problem there by that crossing. That's the first level tunnels on that layout, the lower level tunnels. And so I'm going to, oh, you bought a portable airbrush, Chris? Nice. Yeah, I love my portable airbrush. It works great. I never sprayed long enough with it to find out how long the battery goes. I never ran out of battery on mine. So it's in the closet. It's always on charge. So whenever I need it, just take it out and start spraying. It's easier to clean than the other ones, and it works nice. Well, I was going to show you that, but I don't know. Maybe I will later. I'm going to bring back up the, let me see, stop sharing. I'm going to share screen, window, PCP client share. Okay. Okay, here's the roundhouse. And you can see the roofs are on. I did some landscaping. Hey, Anthony, welcome. And I did some landscaping up here. I got some pallets there, some drums, some rocks, a garbage pail, some electrical boxes. At 20, 25 minutes, that's about right. So so I'm using a new method to put down the grass on the layout, and it seems to work out really well. And what I do now is I went to Home Depot and I bought a quart of grass green paint and took my paintbrush and I painted the area that I wanted to put grass down on with a nice cover of grass color green. And then I took after I got done painting it, I didn't let it dry. I then immediately took that paint, put the lid back on, and then I took a my Woodland Scenics different colors and sprinkled it around the paint, and it came out really good, and I liked it. A little, I have a dry brush that I use to push off like here, I'll show you. I may move the camera around. Okay. This section here, this was all dirt brown. Now, when it was used to be different colors, green, yellow, red, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you hear the roosters, right? That's a sound card, Jason. Jim Tedesco has the same unit. He's the one that told me about this unit. So see how that came out? That was all that was. That was all just a little green paint and then sprinkling different Woodland Scenics colors on top of it, and it stuck there really good. So all along the edges of my upper level layouts, I've been working there, and then I lean on the edge and it wipes off all the stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it all and cover it up. No, it's it's in the train room, Jason. I have a sound here. I'll show you. Hold on. So this is the what the Roundhouse project is at right now. Today, Barbara was over and she was started painting some people and some of the workbenches I showed you in my video. And then once they're all painted, then I'll start putting them around the roundhouse and stuff like that. So I got a lot more details to put in the roundhouse. And then I'll put the engines in there and stuff like that. So if we move this back over to the roundhouse, see, here's another thing that I can't figure out yet. See the windows? They look like they're blanked out. And they're really, you can't see the window things. And it's just a different type of light. And I got to figure out what kind of light to show on the camera so that you can see the detail of the windows. But they're not blanked out. They're real windows. So. Yeah, Russ. Yeah. Yeah, that file Jim Tedesco gave me, it's I made it 10 hours long. He had it 8 hours or something like that. I made it 8 hours long because I added some other sounds into the MP4 file that he gave me. I have a software package that I can modify MP4 files and add and remove tracks and stuff like that. So Um, it comes out really nice. So let me just scroll back over to the roundhouse. And then I put the service track signs up on the walls recently, so I know which service track they are. And then there's the smallest switcher. And there's Alfonso, welcome. So this is the smallest switcher. You can see the guy sitting in there. He's driving it. You need an adjustable light panel. Hey, Model Trains Review, welcome. I don't, this must be your first time in here. I don't know your first name. Sorry. Um, oh, Rusty Rails. Yes. Well, Stu, welcome, Stu. I'll make a note of that. Stu. He is Model Trains Reviews. Okay, Stu, welcome. Thanks for stopping in. So that's a 3D printed man I made. I had to size it down so it would fit in there. So so that's that. And then what was I going to show you? Oh, I was going to show you the chickens, the sound thing. Now I'm going to be moving this camera around so don't get dizzy. There's the farm. Okay, right there. See that building back there with the blue light in it? That's where the sound card is. So there's a speaker in there and the sound card's in there, and it comes on automatically at nighttime, and that's what you're hearing, the chickens in the background. And the combine, you can see the combine spinning. It's cutting up the wheat. And the chickens, you ain't going to be able to see them. They're too damn small. So they're pecking away. I'm still waiting for my second set to arrive. They haven't done it yet. So chickens are loud during the day, not at night. Yeah, well, it comes on at nighttime. During the day, I work on the layout and I need some peace and quiet. So I can turn them off at will if I wanted to. All I got to do is go into my app and turn them off. Yeah, that's why I got my portable airbrush too, Bob and Chris, is because I want to weather the tracks. Once I get everything running right, then I'm going to weather the tracks. I have the right paints that I want, and this and that. Bob, completed my New Year's resolution last night. Ordered a 3D printer. Very good, Chris. The only way to go. So here's the section where I'm talking about. Right down in here, there's a turnout there, and then that goes across to there. And then you got a turnout here, and that comes into this industry area. And then there's a turnout right in front of the train station there that goes to that siding where that car is sitting right there. So, thanks a lot, Chris. Yeah, that's all 3D printed. What paint am I using for my track? I have a couple of colors um, that I use. Um, I think they're uh, ebony black. Um, I got burnt umber. I got burnt sienna. I got raw sienna. Those color combinations is what I'm going to be using to paint there, James. Yeah, I don't buy anything from Temu. And any cubic, Bob. Okay. Resin printer or filament printer, Chris? Yeah, well, how long is it going to last, James? That's the question. I have a Dynamo label printer. What what brand make a paint? Um, Mine are all um, Deco Art, all made in the United States. Deco Art is the brand name. Ever model. Yeah. Yep, and I have grimy black too. So they're the colors that I use. And I made a mixture up that I liked. And I had a section of track that I tested it on, small section, and I sprayed it on there, and it looked good. So um, the rails, I'm not sure about what I'm going to do with the rails yet. I'm just spraying and coloring the ties, and then I might do the rails at the same time. Printer costs $20. Yeah. Well, you know the old saying, you get what you pay for. Yeah. So, but everything is made in China anyway, so you're getting it directly from there. So, no big deal. If it works for you, that's good. But I don't buy anything on Temu. Yeah, it works great. Yeah, that's all that matters, right? If it works, it works. Uh, I got a Dynamo label printer here, and I have um, different types of labels to put in there and stuff like that. So, hey, Stormy, welcome. How you doing tonight? Uh, they're they're a close second to Temu. I've gotten some stuff from AliExpress. I forget what it was. Mainly, I think some electronic stuff I got from AliExpress. I'd rather order things from the United States, you know, because it gets here. I ordered some motors for the oil field. Okay, can't see the oil field in these pictures, and these any of these pictures. I don't have the cameras pointing to them. So, hey, Mike, welcome. How you doing? So, I'm too disorganized to use a label maker. Ha ha ha. Yeah. Um, Paint I use for airbrushes. There you go, Tamara. Use what works for you. Right. Exactly. Yeah. I have Tamara. I have Viagra too. I have those two brands here. I have about four or five different brands of paint, and I've never had a problem with any of them that I tried. The only problem is you run out, and then you can't find the same bottle anymore. That's the whole problem, Bob. What do you mean, Mike? I 3D printed some track joiners, but that will isolate the tracks. Or you can put them and touch the rails together. But I 3D printed a file that I don't. Oh yeah, here they are. Let me make myself big again. These. And you put the tracks in between there and connects them together. Is that what you're talking about? Because I just 3D printed these. I got these off of Thingiverse, I think. So so that's enough about the roundhouse and what else is going on. So yeah, I don't like I don't like solder and track together because what happens with that, you can't, doesn't allow for contraction or expansion if you have hot or cold in your environment. My temperature in my training room is almost the same all year long, no matter what it is outside. So it's like 73 in the training room right now, and it stays 70 between 75. Between 72 is the lowest I've seen it get in there, and 80 is the hottest it's ever been in there. So it not that much fluctuation in the temperature in my training room. But some guys have, different environments, and that's why I don't like solder and track together. I've soldered joiners in a pinch when I was having disconnects from power, but I don't like doing that either because then if you have to replace it, you have to replace both pieces of track because it's soldered together. You can't get a clean break. I've tried that solder remover stuff, and it works, but it's not working well. Chicken of the sea. Yep, that's right. Yeah, that's right, Bob. One solder joint, but um, I soldered my track when I built my Helix the first time, and that was a disaster. Cars derailed on the joint, and I even did what the guy showed. He took one rail, made it longer than the other, and then he soldered them together straight, and then he turned it, made the radius. Uh, I wasn't good at it, I guess. I don't know. I never solder a turnout, never. No solder wire or nothing. And speaking of that, here's that turnout I showed you guys in the video. This here is an example of why you don't mess around with turnouts. Okay. Back in the day, when I had the first layout, I had signals running on there, but then I got JMRI, and those signals didn't work with JMRI. So what I did then was I had to put in, NCE BD20s and light-its for the controlling of the signals and all that stuff, and that was all the easy stuff. But the problem was I had to isolate the tracks, and what I was doing, since this track was already in the ballast and everything, it's kind of hard to put an insulator joiner on the rail when it's in the track, when it's in the ballast. Can't do it. I mean, a metal one you can slide on by cutting out the things on that's holding the rail in place, and then you can slide it all the way back and then drop the track in, stuff like that. That works. That's right. I bought a bunch of them from you, Jason. That's right. So, and they're all working. So this here track, then what I had to do was I had to take a Dremel tool and I was cutting the rails to isolate the track. And then I would fill it with this special plastic stuff, and that hardened. Well, I didn't realize it, but I cut the rail on the turnout. I thought it was on a piece of track, and I must have not paid attention, and I cut the rail on the turnout, because this looks like a straight piece of track here, right? On the turnout, this here piece here, right? So I cut it there. And then when I took out that old piece of track, and this rail, this came right off. This came right out. So this turnout was dead. So that's why I don't solder onto turnouts. I don't do anything on turnouts. They just, I do ballast the turnouts, but I am extremely careful of how I ballast the turnout. Yeah, that's, I think it was some kind of styrene paste or something, and it just hardened. That's this is an Atlas turnout. All my turnouts are Atlas. I have a double slip. That's a Pico, but it's a Code 83 double slip. And that's the only other type of track I have on my layout. Everything else is Atlas track. And I use Atlas track for one reason and one reason only. Atlas headquarters is in New Jersey, so I support a New Jersey company. That's why I get Atlas stuff. And I always used Atlas from day one. My dad bought Atlas track when I was, a kid, and we always used Atlas track all the way through. Yeah, you only use Walters track, right? So, well, that's a good question. But so I had to get 3 new number 4 turnouts, and this is a number 4 Code 83. Yeah, that is, Bob, and that's why I use Atlas track. I even traveled to upstate New York to a hobby shop up there, and I bought Flex Track from them, and that was all Atlas track. But that was Code 100. When I first started out my layouts, when I was a lot younger, Code 100 was the only thing available. They didn't have Code 83 then. Yeah, well, most of my layouts are 6s or 8s, but This is a small area, and I don't use the turnouts for the big engines. They don't run on there. They're for the switchers that come down to take the cars from the train. After the train drops them off and puts it on the siding there, a switcher comes in, takes out the cars, and crosses over. And they go into the industry too, the switchers. So no GP40 or SD40 or GP35 or any of those engines are going to go into these number 4 turnouts. These 3 turnouts there are designed especially for what I'm doing there. So normally I use 6s or 8s, depending on how much room I have. And on the curved turnouts, they're even longer. They're I think they're 28 and 30 curved sizes. So um, oh, that's what you like, James. So um, the multi-levels is nothing more different than one level. You just work on one level at a time. That's all. And my area isn't that big. It's room is uh, 25 long by 15 wide. The problem is there's 1, 2, 3, 4 doors in that room. Yeah, 3630, our number 10. Yep. So I wasn't going to put in 4 drop downs or, whatever they're called. And I didn't want to do that. So I made the layout fit in the area that I had. The other side of the room is a little longer than the side right behind me because my office door is right there. Now I could have extended it by putting, a gate, bridge thing that goes up and down. But I go in and out of this office, maybe 100 times a day. I don't know, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And I know you can leave it up, but yeah, I said, so then I said, okay, I'll go up, and I go up, and then I was able to go around the whole room because I went up higher. Yeah, an 8-point form tool as well. Yeah. Oh, Jason, you don't need to make me that 3-way unless you feel like doing it. But I don't need it anymore because I put in 3 separate turnouts in its place. Well, actually 2 separate turnouts replaced the 3-way. And then the other turnout was this one here. The rail broke off. So I'm having trouble with one curved turnout. Passenger cars don't like it. It's 24, 28. Are the couplers too low, James? They're derailing for some reason. Maybe the wheels. Are the wheels free flowing? And they don't make a 3-way turnout in code 83, only code 100. I'll be building 10s and 12s. Yeah, that's good. So, okay. So now, oh, I already told you that I tried running the train with the track clean car and it hook up on that spot. Just looking at my notes here. Also, I just downloaded 3 files today that I was going to try and print a 89-foot car carrier. I have files for that. 2 separate files. I want to see which one works the best. Too tight a radius. What's the length of your cars, James? Are they 72 footers or 80 footers? Because some passenger cars are really long, and those long cars need bigger radiuses. I have about 9 curved turnouts on my layout, and I don't have a problem with anything on there. But I don't run passenger trains on the curved turnouts. I have 72-foot passenger cars and a 60-footer, I think it is. Derek, I can make it. Derek, I wish Walters would do a 36 curve turnout. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice if anybody would do a 30-36 turnout? They are long cars, all rapido. Well, that's your first problem. But how long is long? 72 foot, 80 foot, 84 foot, 89 foot, 60 foot. Anything less than 72 foot, you should have no problem going over those turnouts. If you have problems, then your couplers or your trucks or your wheels or something wrong with them. As simple as that. If they don't cooperate, the engines go over those turnouts, no problem, right, James? It's just the cars, right? Have you tried rolling stock over those turnouts? I bet you that they work fine too. Don't have any issues using number 6 turnouts, right? And the turnouts that you're going through with the passenger cars are on bigger turnouts or smaller turnouts than number 6s. A 60-46 radius. The biggest curved turnout I can make you is a 60-46 radius. Wow, that's pretty big. Yes, everything works except for the passenger cars. Well, what's that tell you? There's something wrong with the passenger cars. Either the trucks, wheels, or couplers. Something is doing it wrong. Now, okay, James, how about this? The passenger cars are hooked right up to the engine, right? How long of a coupler do you have off of the engine going into the passenger car? Because if they're short, maybe the passenger car is hitting the engine as it's going around a corner. Did you ever check that out? That's something to look at. Are the other cars touching the other cars as it's going through that corner? That'll cause a derailment if they start hitting each other. What I did on some of my cars, like the engines in the consist, the engine that connects to the freight cars, I put a longer coupler on the back of the engine. So that way it's further away. So the first car is further away from the engine. So it doesn't hit the engine as it's going around a corner. I did that for my passenger train too. Yeah, diaphragms on passenger cars can be an issue too. All that fancy stuff, right? Yeah, add that on. Yeah, that's right. Because that's the only way. Because if you don't, your car will hit the engine. Now, also, the engines tend to jerk as they're pulling cars around too. So that movement, you need to make sure there's the proper weight in those cars. and that weight needs to be over top of the wheels, not in the center of the car. There needs to be weight over the wheels. Yeah, 146. I use 146s. That's a long center coupler. I think a 143 and a 141, one's an upper center, and the 141 is a lower center or something like that. But 146 is a center, long center, and that's what I use on my engines. And 149s too. They're also long center. Whatever one suits you. Most of my cars have either 119s or 158s on the freight cars, and then on the long cars, yes, that's what you need to do. Yeah, you have to look at the trucks first. Make sure the trucks are freewheeling. Maybe you need to tune the trucks. Maybe the wheel isn't spinning properly. There's a lot of things you have to look at when you're having a derailment of that. Because a curve turnout, are you going in the diverging track when it happens, or are you just going straight through the turnout? So I was trying to oh, they just came out of Brock's brand new. Okay. Well, it's like getting a brand new car, James, right? You have to get the kinks out of it sometimes. So this engine here is a Rock Island. It's 1208 is the road number. And I've been trying to get this. I finally got a decoder for it. So I installed the decoder yesterday on the frame. There's the decoder and everything. And then I put it on a test track. The decoder came on, but the motor wouldn't move. So I took the motor out. I put a 9-volt battery on it, and the motor was dead. So then I took another motor out of my stock. This motor runs. I put a 9-volt battery on it, and it spins. Did the same thing with this one, and it's dead. So now what I got to do is I got to take the flywheels off of this motor here and put them on this motor here. Well, I got the one flywheel off, but I can't get the other one off. So I can't find a flywheel puller tool that will work at all. Then I watched a guy's video today, and he said he doesn't use the flywheel puller tools. So what he uses is a drift punch, DIRFT punch. And it's a 5/64 inch or a 2 millimeter. So I'm trying to find those two kinds of punches. And then he uses a ball peen hammer. Why can't I use the flywheels on the motor? I'll explain that in a second. Okay. Okay. Old motor. This plastic insert goes into that hole there. I'll just push it in a little bit so it won't stay. I had to force it in there. That plastic thing goes in there, and then that connects to the worm drive. So I need that round flywheel because the new one has a hex in it, and this won't fit in there. I thought about reaming this out in a round, but I says, nah, I'm not going to do that. These reviews I am adding to my website, so you need to file the center. Oh, the curves. Yeah, okay. So anyway, so that's why, Derek, because I don't want to change the trucks, and the worm wheels are on there. It has the connector that connects to this here part, this plastic piece, and that goes inside the round one. So I need to take the round ones off and put them on. So this guy's video I watched, he took a ball peen hammer, you know, the ones with the little round ends on it, and then a drift punch, and put the drift punch, put the motor in a vise with some leather around the brass flange so that you wouldn't damage the, put marks on the flange or the flywheel. You put piece of leather around this. You put that in there. You tighten up the vise. Just, don't over tighten it. You don't want to make this out of alignment. And then you take the ball peen hammer and the drift punch. Put the drift punch on the shaft, which is inside the hole there. You're not gonna see it because it's that black thing in the middle of the hole there. And then you put that on there and you just tap lightly, and then it'll break free, and then the motor drops right out. And what he uses also is a flange. It's a round flange with a little nut on it. It's a flange, and then he puts that on top, and it covers everything, and then you can put it back on by tapping it back on. Now, he was just tapping them back on by eye, but I 3D printed a 2mm slot washer, and that's the gap between the motor and the flange. And I'll just stick my 3D printed washer in there when I'm tapping it down so it won't go down any further. And the same thing with the other side. Okay. And then, like I said, this one side, it came right off after I twisted it a little. This side here, I need to knock it off with the punch and the hammer. I can't get it. It's starting to come out a little bit. I got it going a little bit. Yes. And Loctite number 620. That's the number for the Loctite. There's many different types of Loctite. So you got to get 620. That works well with the Athearn motors. You have to find out from your motor manufacturer what will hold the flywheels in place. And the guy who was doing the video was doing Athearn motors, and he said Loctite for 620. Matter of fact, the one guys that I got the first flywheel for, he even confirmed that by saying, yes, we use Loctite 620 to put the flywheels back on. So you just put a little Loctite on the shaft, and you slide that on there, tap it on in its place, and it'll stay there, and it's good to go. And then you can, then you put it in the motor, and you might not have tapped it down far enough or whatever, and you can adjust it by tapping it a little more. And but I got a washer. You gotta put a washer in here so it doesn't go down too far. That's all. And the guy that I saw who made the real good um, flywheel pullers, his videos are over 4 years old. The newest video was 4 years old. He hasn't posted much. He only has 50 some followers. And he responded to one of my comments, said he was going to make me one, but I don't know if he's waiting for stuff to come from China. Probably that's why. The parts to make the thing, I don't know. No, I'm not going to mess around with the symmetrics of the flywheel at all. These things have to be, if you drop these on the floor, you could knock them out of tune, and then you'd have to tune them again. You don't want to mess around with that. So if it comes with that, then okay. But I've never seen a flywheel with a set screw in it. They're just pressure fitted on the shaft with some sort of glue. Could you print a drive shaft adapter? Well, I don't know. Maybe, Derek. Um, that would have to require a. Yep, you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a tuna fish. That's right. Yeah, I got it from them, Ronald, and that did not work. The one I got from them, when I cranked down on the motor, I put the little thing inside the flywheel and put it on the shaft. And then I started cranking it down. It bent the screw, and it never took off the flywheel. And the only reason I don't want to print a drive shaft adapter and I want to get the flywheels to be able to come off and on, Derek, is because I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 Atherin SW7 motors to replace. And I need to take the flywheels off of their motors and put them on the new motors. Okay. Yeah, they sell a lot of things there. I know, but they sell the flywheel puller there. Oh, and if they sell those connectors. Okay, maybe I'll go there again. And it's NWSL is the site. Yeah, that's who I was talking with the guy there, and he wanted me to send back the parts that bent and everything. And I told him, no, I'm sending it back to Midwest Railroad. Said they'll send it back to you. So um, it was weird how the thing just bent, and it had a C thing, looked like a C. It was metal, and that bent. That much pressure. I was just turning it by hand. I didn't have a drill on it and put the chuck in the key on the screw and was turning it with the thing. Um, I said they it wasn't strong enough. But the guy that I saw, name was Joseph Wohler the second, and he made a robust one. And his you can install or remove the flywheel with his tool. And all it is a C with a slot in it so that the motor can go in there, and then a screw with a pointy thing on the end of it, and then you can change it out with different sizes depending on the shaft, and then you push the shaft out. Very funny, Jason. Do you need a tune-up? I don't know, Dwight. Do you? How's your fingers doing today, Dwight? So these two engines here, you can't see them. Let me. This one here, and this one here. These two were sitting in the roundhouse, and they were never hardly ever brought out for anything. So up on my fifth level, my two long trains, I'm going to add them to the consist, and 3 more cars to add, and then I'm calling it a night on adding items to the website. Very good. So is that from estate sales there, Jason? Yeah, there'll be DPUs for the train. Yeah, I remember REO Speedwagon. Yeah, I remember that song. From a massive estate. Wow. Yeah, that's a shame. But we'll all end up in that place one day soon, too. So never know. So I was going to go to Harbor Freight and see if they have the ball peen hammer and the drift punch. I saw online that they had drift punches, but I couldn't find the sizes that I wanted. And well, I'll go to the store there and see if they can. I'll bring a motor with me, and then we can look and see what size they have, because they have different types of drift punches, and you need to get the right kind. And when you go online, a picture sometimes doesn't show what it really is. So I'd rather go to the store. It's not that far. It's a 10-minute drive for me to go to Harbor Freight, and I'll just go there and get the tools. Then I got to get a new vise, because the one I have is too small for these motors. So, uh, what can I do? So, DB Tech Dave is still here. Um, there's a train show on April 11th in Kutztown, Pennsylvania. Barbara and I will be going there, and hopefully we'll meet Dave there, and we'll see him there. And the only reason I wanted to go to a train show is because of one thing. I'm looking for one type of car, and hopefully they'll have them there. But I'm not going to tell you what type of car that is until I get it. So, but that's what I'm going to be looking for. I'll try not to buy anything. Well, I don't buy much anything either, unless I see something that I need. And in the back of my head, I have things that I might want to get, but there's one thing that I'm going to be looking for. That's it. So, um, but I'm still debating on which type of that one thing I want to get. So, but uh, that's that. So it's 9:21, people. I have a ball peen hammer. Got when I started to rewind armatures. I'll show you the next slide. Yeah, good. Yeah, I know. I don't have a ball peen hammer. Never had a need for one. But when I saw the video, you want to use the right tools for the right job, right? You don't go out and get a sledgehammer to take a flywheel off of an HO scale motor, right? Hey, John Nittenberg, welcome. How you doing? I'm just about ready to sign off here, but thanks for stopping in. You can watch the replay to catch all the good stuff. So um, I want to thank everybody for popping in tonight. Thanks for staying with me for this hour plus. I appreciate everybody. Um, Hope everybody enjoys the rest of the week. Don't forget to catch Jim Tedesco tomorrow at 6 o'clock. And I don't know who else is on for the rest of the week, but everybody have a great night and a good week and enjoy your weekend. We'll catch you all later. And everybody take care. Good night.